Hi guys, it's Nicki. I am back with another review of The Handmaid's Tale. This is season 2, episode 3, called Baggage, and it was really good um, because I like these flashbacks because you actually learned a lot about June from these flashbacks. Whereas in episode 1, I felt like it was more of a review of, it was just a catch up or review. I felt like I didn't really learn anything more in episode 1, but the last 2 episodes, the flashbacks have been really great and I enjoyed them. So yes, I watched this episode twice and I liked it even more the second time. So I'm going to just start doing that. Watching the first time just to watch it for myself, and then the second time to watch it to do the review. So let's get into it. It opens up to June getting her exercise in. So she's still at the Boston Globe, where she's waiting on someone to come and get her and take her to the other side or wherever they're going to take her. But eventually it's going to go to Canada. I think I saw where they said Little America or something, and I was like, but I thought it was Canada. So someone tell me, like, are they calling it Little America or are we still calling it Canada? What are they doing? Anyways, so it opens with her still being at the Boston Globe, and she's getting exercise. Like, she's running all the way around the building and everything, just getting exercise, I guess, just to keep herself going and moving. And we see that her shrine that she's made for the victims that were, killed at the Boston Globe has grown, and she has a lot of candles. And I'm like, I don't like, because she's been there 2 months, and I love candles. So, but anyways, so then we go to Maura, and that's just the end of that first scene. It's just June really being there, and then she opens up. This is important because it makes the whole episode. She opens up about her mother. So that's the first time we've heard her talk about, her past life in regards to another family member that isn't Luke or Hannah. So she opens up, I believe, she opens up about her mother, and just telling that her mother used to say, like, women start to get used to things. Like, once they've done it, they can adapt and get used to certain things. And so that's that first scene to begin The Handmaid's Tale. Then we go into Maura, who's in, I guess, Little America / Canada, because I'm not sure what they're calling it. And we see she and Luke's husband, and he's telling her he's thinking they're going to be some kind of war or something going down in New York, invasion. And there's a woman there who does not speak, but she doesn't speak. She acknowledges them, but she doesn't speak to them or anything. So that's that episode. It really just is catching you up on, like, they're living together. Maura is making eggs and all that kind of stuff. She went for a run, and they're just showing, the life there, where it's like they have their freedom again, compared to where, how June is having to live. So then they go back to June, and she's talking about, she's cutting out all these old newspaper articles and everything, and she's like saying things like, you were there all the time. And it's just because now, looking back at the newspaper articles and all of that, she sees that the change was coming, and it was always there. Like, they were always showing that it was coming and everything, but they just didn't do anything about it at the time, which is kind of a theme throughout this whole episode. So then they show June in a flashback, and it's her mom taking her to a rally, and she said they were going to feed the ducks, I believe, but what they end up doing is going to a women's rally where they're burning, and it's a big fire going on. It's at night, and June is like, well, and it shows June as a little girl, like, going with her mother, and she's going to feed the they were supposed to be feeding the ducks, but they go to this rally, and the women are clapping and cheering and encouraging each other, and there's a big fire, and they have these pieces of paper that they're throwing into the fire, and it turns out it's a rally for women who were raped, and so they've put their rapist's name on the paper, and they're burning it. or whatever. Just, I guess, you know how you can take control of yourself again, or your whatever that did to them, they're taking control, they're taking it back, like their power back. And June just explains how, you know, that was her mom, and she loved seeing her mom like that, because her mom looked alive, and like she really, you could tell she really enjoyed those type of events. Like she was one of those feminist women who fought at the time, you know, for us to have so many rights as women. So that's what June, it was kind of showing about June's mom. So then we flash forward to June. You know, she's up and everything, and Nick comes through, and he brings her coffee, and he mentions to her that she didn't wake him up or whatever, and she said she didn't wake him up because that means he would leave, and she didn't want him to leave. So, you know, she gets lonely there, and I guess, you know, when he gets to come and visit and stay the night or whatever, it's nice for her, for him to be there. And so then he tells her that someone is coming to get her, to take her, I guess to Canada, or where, if he doesn't know if it's going to be the next stop. He's not exactly sure. Nick doesn't really know what's going on. Like, he's got her into this because he's trying to protect the baby. He's trying to protect her and everything. But it's not like he's pulling strings or whatever. It's not like he would be like the commander. You know what I mean? It's not like that. So he got her into this, and he's just kind of winging it as it goes. So he's telling her that someone will be there to take her somewhere. He's not really sure where they're going to take her. So then they go to Mora again. And so there's a man who Mora, because if you remember the last season when Mora came, Luke or someone, I think it was someone else, they showed Mora around and were just letting her know, you know, they gave her like her little care package with money and all of that. And I guess she's become one of those type of people. So she's showing the I can't remember, I don't know if they said his name or not, but she's showing him around. He used to be a soldier or everything, and he's kind of in shell shock, because, you know, he said that, you know, he was in the army, and then all of a sudden they were, I think he said guardians. And so he said, you know, one day they're fighting, and then the next day they belong to this regime and everything, and they're hanging people on the walls, and one of the people that they hung was actually an ex-lover of his. So like most of the people, he saw some messed up things, and it's messing with his mind and everything. And so Mara tries to reassure him that it'll get better. We have trauma counselors and all of that, but you can also see with her telling him that she's not all the way good herself, you know. So y'all, I was just on page 1 with that. I'm telling you, this episode was so good, and it had so much in it. So June is so then we go to June, and she's at the Boston Globe just chilling, and the truck pulls up, and she asked the man who always comes every week, we met him last week, she asked him, is there a delivery or whatever, and he said no, but I guess he said something like, you're going to be the delivery or something, so because he's coming to take her to where she's supposed to go. So we show her getting into the vehicle, the truck with him, and it's like it's a delivery truck, because that's what they do. But she gets into the vehicle with him, and while she's in that truck, she has a flashback. So we find out that June's mom was working at a clinic, and at this point, I don't think they said what type of clinic it was. They didn't say what type of clinic it was or anything. But someone attacked them, and it was her mom. So June is going to visit her mom because she needed something to make dinner with Luke and them. So she was going to visit her mom, and her mom's friends had been, they had bruises and everything all over them because they had been attacked by a bomb or whatever. And so one of the friends asked June, what's up with the, digs, what you're wearing, and June was like, oh, I just came from work, I'm I work at a publishing um book publishing company, and she was just promoted to an assistant editor. And you could tell the way June said it, she wanted approval from her mom, and her mom, was just like, But then she was like, but Mora is building a website for, damn, what did she say? What did she say? I can't remember what she said, but Mora was building a website. And so, and all those, I think it was for gay people or gay women, and all the ladies were like, oh yeah, we need that or whatever. And it was just kind of like, dang, mom. So then you could kind of see how their relationship is. Here is June's mom, who's this feminist who, is like power to the women and everything, and here is June wanting to, cook dinner for her husband and everything, or her soon to be husband, I believe. She wanted to cook dinner for him and everything, and so she's getting a promotion, but the mother is more concerned about, Mora, who is, more aligned to what June's mother believes in. So then we flash forward, and June is dropped off at this building. Now, I don't know if this was like the old airport or anything, but it did have the Boston airport, but it had a lot of signs in there. So I don't know if this was the old airport or what it was, but it had a lot of signage in there. So June is just chilling out because she literally does not know when someone is going to come and get her. So she's walking around, looking at everything, and then all of a sudden this man appears, and his name is Adam, and they just start talking or whatever, because she was looking at a Salem sign, so he said something about, are you a witch, or maybe the bad kind of good. Anyways, he appears, and at first she's like, I would be, you're alone in this signage place, and you don't know if he's the good guy, bad guy, you don't know. So he was like telling her to come with him, and she was hesitant at first, but then she went ahead and went with him or whatever. And so they're literally walking out of this building to the truck, because he's a delivery driver as well. They're walking out of the building to go to the truck, and he gets a message on his phone. And of course, you already knew something was up when he got the message on the phone, because he's taking her to a safe house. And he telling her he doesn't know the people or anything like that. He just knows he's taking her to the safe house. So he looks at his phone and he says, I'm so sorry. He starts apologizing to her, and he was like, the safe house has been compromised. And she's like, so he's getting in his truck. He's about ready to go. He's really finna leave her at the little signage place or wherever she was. And she's like, wait. You cannot leave me here. And so he's pretty much just like, he doesn't know what to do with her, because he was supposed to take her to this safe house. The safe house is compromised, so June, you can't go. And so like she's begging him, like banging on the truck windows and everything, begging him not to leave her. And he's cranking it up. He's getting ready to go. And then she gets in front of the truck, and she has tears in her eyes, and she's just begging him, please do not leave me here. And so he starts beating on the steering wheel, and he was just like, ugh, get in the truck or whatever. So she gets in the truck, and she's thanking him. Now, I don't know. So I'm assuming that if the safe house was compromised, then the place that they were placing June was probably also going to be compromised. If not then it would be compromised extremely soon. So, hey, Hershey's. So okay, Hershey's. So, I'm assuming, hey, Cardell, will you get my shoe from Hershey's? I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know how Hershey's gets. So, anyways, I'm assuming that, lost my train of thought. Okay. I'm assuming that, that place was also going to be compromised. If not right then it would be very soon. And so that's why she didn't want to stay. But I don't know if it would have been better for her to stay, or if it would have been better for her to go. But he lets her go. He doesn't know what he's going to do with her, so he goes home. So he goes home. He walks into his building and everything. And they're having to be really safe. And I'm like, what are y'all going to do if somebody, like, comes out? So he goes into his house, and he has a cute little boy. The little boy that played his son was really cute. So he goes in, and then his wife comes out. Okay, now Adam is black. I think that's his name. Adam is black. His wife is white, and they have their biracial child. But I mean, this could have been June's life, but they're on the lower scales. So Adam's wife is not. Oh, I'm gonna get to that later. So then, oh yeah, so Adam's wife is not that happy to have June there, because that's a threat that comes to Adam's wife. Like she doesn't have to be a handmaid, because I guess because he was like they're lower workers or whatever. He drives the truck for deliveries, but she's like a Stepford wife is what she has to be, but lower class for that. So then she has resentment towards June. Like, she looks her nose down on June, because she's like, I don't know how you could possibly give your baby up. And June was like, I'm trying not to. She's doing everything in her power not to. And so the woman tells her, I would die first. And June was like, yeah, I used to think that too. Because it's easy to say that kind of stuff when you're not living it. Like, she was not living that. She wasn't living, like Mrs. Waterford, where they were in a nice home and everything. Because they were in like more of an apartment. They were in a nice home and had servants or everything. She had to be everything. She had to do all of the work. She was a housewife. But it's better than being a handmaid, and it's better than going to the colonies and everything. So the family goes to church, and she was like, oh, y'all are religious, or June tells them y'all are religious or something. And they say, we have to show that we believe in the religion and everything. And so Adam as they're leaving, Adam tells her we'll be back at 2 from church. And they went to church early, and as they're leaving, the wife says it's not bad to be early, and then something like it's not good to be late. So she's like, let's just go ahead and go a little bit earlier than what they normally do. So before they leave, June asks Adam, are you stupid or are you brave? And he tells her, well, I'm not brave, or whatever. So, and that's based off something that they, in their earlier conversation, when they were talking about brave people, stupid people, as far as helping, people escape and everything. So then we flash, oh, and as they're leaving, someone comes to the door, and they tell June also, don't go, don't make a lot of noise or anything, because people are always watching. And you could literally see people, people were watching. And someone comes to the door, and they're knocking, and they're like, hey, are you guys gone already or whatever? And so June gets under the bed, and that's when she finds out that, that they were practicing Muslims, but they were hiding it because it was under the bed, like the prayer rug and everything. So then we flash back, and we see that June's mom is talking to June or whatever. June, I guess, came over to visit her mom and everything. And she's really trying to tell June, like, you need to get out here with me and fight, because don't you see what the world is coming to? And I guess at this time, things were happening, but they weren't so bad that they couldn't live, they couldn't live without it. They couldn't live with it, excuse me. So her mom is trying to tell June, do you really like your job or whatever? You want to sit there and just correct people's papers and everything all day? And June was like, yeah, she loved it. And then her mother tells her she doesn't want her to marry Luke. She said it's time, it's time to get out there and fight and march and do something. because the world is so bad and you want to play house. And she was like, I'm not trying to play house, you know, I'm just trying to be with Luke. I'm not playing, you know. She just wanted to be with her family or whatever. She just wanted to have a family. And that's really what that scene was about. We see the conflict again between June's mom wanting her to be this feminist, and June's mom even said it, like, I fought for you to have all these rights and everything, and here you are just wanting to be a wife. You just want to go to your 9 to 5 and just be a wife and everything. So then we learn. Oh, so then they keep flashing back with June's memories, because so they flash back more with June's memories. I actually messed up because now I'm supposed to talk about somebody coming to the door, and then finding the rug, but we're gonna just go back with the flashback. Sorry about that. So we learned something. So I like this episode because we were learning something new about June's mom, and it gives you more depth about their conflict and everything that they had going on. So when we flash back again, and June's still in the apartment, waiting for the family to come home so that she knows what to do next, we see that June flashes back, and she's a handmaid again with Mora, and this is at the beginning stages when they're showing them slides and everything, and telling them, you know, about what they'll be, how great this will be for them and everything. So they're showing them slides, telling them what they do for the people and everything. And in one of the slides, June had looked away and Mora touched her, and so she was telling her to look up at the slide. So when she looks up, it's her mother in the slide, and her mother, we find out that June's mother has been taken to the colonies, and she's working in the colonies. So that's where she was captured, and that's where they have her working. So we learn that information, and then later on they show where June and Mora are in bed, before they were in their separate beds or whatever, and they're just talking about, you know, her mother, and they're both like really emotional because, you know, they love. Mora had a close relationship, I guess, with June's mother because they were so much alike, and you know that's June's mother. So they were talking about, you know, her mother was working for an abortion clinic, and you know June was like, I thought they destroyed all the records and all that kind of stuff. But some kind of way they found her mother, and so she went to the colonies. And so Mora is like, well, and then June realizes, she said, my mother knew the whole time that it was going to come to this. Like, she was right. And it dawns on June that she should have been fighting. So once again, June has waited too late to try to do something. So then Mora says, well, at least, you know, she'll die fast in the colonies. And June says, no, she won't, because you know she's a fighter. So, yeah, we saw last week from Emily's episode that they told them, even though the colonies is horrible, when they killed one of the mistress or whatever, one of the commander's wife, even though she had to go to the colonies too. But when they killed her, they were like, there will be, you know, they're going to make them pay for that, even though they're in the colonies. So that lets you know that they're doing extra stuff to them while they're there. So if June's mother still had that fight in her, then probably the colonies is not the best stay for her, if she's even still there or whatever. Because I don't remember seeing her last week, like even in a past, like, you know, glance by. But anyway, so June gets stressed. So then we go back to the present, and June is just sitting there waiting on them to come, and she's like, it's 5 o'clock now, so something must have happened to them. And then she's like, I waited, like, for everything. I just waited and just kind of let things happen to her. So she was like, I'm not gonna wait anymore. So she puts on the garment that Adam's wife has to wear, and so that she goes outside and everything, and they're all just kind of blending in. It's all grayish and everything. And you can see the people were looking even behind their windows. So the fact that their family didn't come back makes you go, well, maybe someone saw and reported what they saw or whatever. because they should have been back at 2 and it's now 5 o'clock. So then June is gone. She takes a map that Adam had earlier, and so she takes the map and she puts on the garments and she leaves, and she kind of blends in, and there's guards everywhere, so she kind of blends in. She ends up getting on a train. She looks for the destination on the map and everything. She has a seat on the train, and finally they're like, this is the last destination, this is the last stop. So she gets off the train, and then she goes through the woods. She cuts off. She was walking straight. When the guard turns his back, she takes off through the woods or whatever. And so she's running through the woods and everything. So as she's doing this, it reminds her, it's like a flashback, flash forward. You would see her running through the woods in present time, and then flash back to when she was running through the woods with Hannah. And she's just remembering how hard she fought then to try to get Hannah out, but she's also remembering that she waited too late to try to do it. So she's thinking, I waited too late to try to get Hannah out. I guess she's just thinking, like, I'm always behind. I'm always a step behind. And so she's running through the woods, and it's flashing back to when they took Hannah out of her arms and everything. And then she's like, I'm leaving my child. I'm leaving my child. She makes a decision because she stops, and then she has to make a decision. Are you going to stay or are you going to go? And she decides to go, which means that she would be leaving Hannah behind as she goes, to be free. And then we see her finally make it to the destination where all the planes were, because that's where she's trying to go, where all the planes were. And she's waiting on the plane to come or whatever. And she's like, raise your daughter as a feminist, and then she'll always wait on men to come and rescue her or save her, because that's been June's story a lot. Like, especially this season, it's been pretty much her whole story this season, where she's just waiting on all these different men to come and help her. So her life isn't like really in her hands. So then we go to Maura, and Maura is at this nightclub or whatever, and she's been drinking, and she meets this girl, and they make eye contact or whatever. So then they go to the bathroom, they do what they do, and when it's all done, Maura is like washing her hands and everything, and the girl is trying to touch her, but Maura doesn't want to be touched. And so the girl, she's like, I'm good, I don't want to be touched, because what. And then she calls her, the girl says, I'm Caitlin or whatever, and Maura says she's Ruby, which Ruby is her name from Jezebel's. So Maura she's really needing to go to counseling herself to work through her issues about having to be a handmaid as well as having to work at Jezebel's. So she's needing to work through her issues. So then Maura goes home, and the girl who doesn't speak, her roommate is there, and Luke is there, and Luke is on the couch or whatever, I guess pretending to be asleep. And the Maura and the girl, I guess the girl gives Maura a look, because I guess she knows where Maura's been or whatever, and Maura's just like, forget you or whatever. And so the girl says, blessed be the Fruit Loops, which makes Maura crack up, and it's like, they kind of like bonded them or whatever. So then we go back. So then we go back to June, who the captain has brought down the plane or whatever. So he's arrived, and so she's walking up to him, and he pulls a gun out on him because he doesn't know who she is. And she's like, I'm the handmaid or whatever. And he says, how can you prove it? So then she shows him the notch on her ear where where they branded them, where she cut it off. So she shows him that, and so they're walking to the plane, and then this other guy just pops out of nowhere, and he says he was the driver for Commander Wells, which I'm like, dang, they must not be doing. I mean, because Nick seemed to have a cool job, but I guess, he's the driver for Commander Wells, and he was even trying to get out of there. Just because he's a man and he was a driver, it seemed like Nick didn't. Well, I guess you would mind seeing what you're seeing, especially if you're not free, but he was trying to get out of there too. So they get loaded in the plane, and everything. And June starts having flashbacks, you know, just of her mom and her being in the car. And at first she was her mom was singing Holla Back Girl, and June was like, Mom, you know, stop it. And then her mom was just like, be free or whatever. And so June started singing it too, just that flashback. And she starts realizing that, you know, she hopes, because she's going to freedom, so she hopes that her daughter understands and her daughter's not upset with her. She hopes that her mom, you know, she wants to tell her, she wish she could tell her mom that she forgives her and she understands now everything. So then the plane gets, they're about to take off. Like, they're literally on this plane on the runway about to take off, and they get shot down. Like, they didn't even, I don't even think they got really up. They get shot down or whatever, and they get surrounded by, I guess, the commander and everyone. And so the pilot gets out, and I'm like, you've been pulling that gun the whole, you just pulled that gun 2 times, and you just get out, and you don't even, like, at least try. I mean, he was outnumbered, but they killed the pilot or whatever, and then they open up the back of the plane, and they drag the driver out, kill him, and then they end up dragging June out as well. So June did not get to escape. But this was a really great episode. Ooh, y'all. So if you have Hulu, I don't know if you're watching the sneak peek for the next episode, but that should be really good. As far as we're gonna get the backstory with Luke and June, as far as the wife and as far as his wife. Now, I don't mind seeing that flashback, because the last season when they did Luke's flashback, I was a little bored with that. But this one, I don't mind seeing, because I want to see how all of that went down. But yeah, so anyways, that was a Handmaid's Tale baggage. I know the video is kind of long, because it was just like, it had so much in this episode. But I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great day.